it is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the hashtag TFR Motivation Monday Zoom. We are Dr. Dondi and Marcy Nettles. We're your hosts tonight, and we're going to go over some great questions because we've had a challenge out there is that we asked, and do you have questions you'd like answers to? Is there anything you'd like more detailed information on? And we are here to serve you in those questions. But before we get to that, let's tell them about this YouTube channel.
Guys, it's the same as every week. So if you're new and have not done this yet, or if you're not so new and you haven't done this yet, go and check out Team Freedom Reigns on YouTube. Just search Team Freedom Reigns, subscribe, ring the bell, ask for notifications so that every time that we have a training call, an opportunity presentation that's recorded, or anything that we have, we upload it to YouTube so you have it accessible to you very simply by going here. So you might as well be notified because you're going to want to know what's going on. So Team Freedom Reigns on YouTube, go check it out and subscribe after the call.
You know what I'm realizing?
What?
That picture needs to change because it's not that season anymore.
Oh, it's not.
It's not winter. It's spring. We need to find a spring pride or a big lion family picture. So that is the task I will get to. So let's talk about now what we said. We're going to have a 4-week challenge that we're going to ask you, what would you like more information about? And then you tell us, and we're going to answer the questions. Week 2 in that endeavor. Last week, we had 3 great questions. This week, we've got 3. We want to make sure that we ask or answer the questions that you're asking or giving you more information where you would like it, because that's really what we want to do, is inspire you, empower you, and equip you with the information that you need and the understanding you need to, 1, increase your belief and skill set, and then go after this opportunity we call the LifeVantage business opportunity.
Yeah, and keep in mind that there is no question too small. There is no stupid question. The only ridiculous question is the one that you don't ask, right? And more than likely, if you have a question about something, maybe somebody else does too, and they're just as shy as you are. And we don't want anybody to miss out on the answers that they need to be able to build their business successfully as big as they want to, because each one of us have a different desire and different vision of our end game. So please, we had mentioned it before we started recording, but now we want to make sure that all of you know that you have the opportunity during this call tonight, that if you have questions come up, put it into the chat of either the Facebook Live, put it in here on Zoom, and we will potentially use your questions in one of the next couple weeks as we continue this series.
You know what I think we should do? I think on the last week, so this is week 2, next week will be week 3, the week after that, it's going to be week 4. I think we should give some kind of a drawing to everybody that we use their questions that week. And then maybe we pick a grand prize winner.
Here he goes, rolling it right off the top of his brain.
I just think that would be a good idea.
Well, I think it's definitely
reward people for wanting to know more about the business of there, so we can help them be more successful. We'll talk about it. It was just introducing the idea, and normally I don't do that kind of thing in a live Zoom, but this time I did, so we're going to back that up.
All right, so let's move on here. Here we go. All right, so what do you want to know? We want to know, do you have questions about scripts? Do you have questions about systems, onboarding, any specific details that you have questions about? We want to be able to help you with that. So again, we already kind of went over this. You have the opportunity to put your questions in the comments, and we will get to them in the next couple weeks. And, you know, tonight we have 3 specific ones that we're going to be going over, and we're going to start with Bob Robbins.
Yeah, and while we're answering these questions, if this reminds you of a question, take the opportunity and throw it right in the chat so that we make sure that we attach your question so we can give you credit for it and give you some visual cues, call you out, and let people see how handsome or beautiful you are, because we actually will put a picture on it. So Bob Robbins from Arizona. We've got 2 Arizona people tonight. No, wait, 1 Arizona, 1 Utah, and 1 Massachusetts for their questions tonight. So Bob Robbins asked, why do some distributors and or teams grow and rank advance quicker than others? That's a really, really, really good question. That was 3 reallys right there, if you were counting at home. But yes, very big question, because a lot of times people will see that maybe they attended an event together, they joined in the same month, or they went to an elite academy together and they met somebody else who joined at the same time as them. So their newness in the business, they kind of had this camaraderie. Or people in a certain market will join around the same time. Or this is something that we experience is when people go to an event like Pro 5 Summit. You qualify for Pro 5 Summit together and you attend the event together. And then the difference is maybe one goes to an elite quicker, one doesn't go to elite, or whatever the case may be. There's always this question, because everybody who's involved in probably every business or every company in network marketing is going to at some point ask this question, especially if they're looking at other or looking at other companies or looking at other people that seem to be growing bigger or faster or having rank advancements. And this is something too, if you join one company and your friend joins another, and you're rank advancing faster than your friend in your company than your friend is in that company, I guarantee you your friend's asking those types of questions. So this is a very common question. So thank you, Bob, for submitting the question that probably a lot of people think of, because I think at some point, most people are going to think of this question.
And before we move on from this slide, first of all, I also want to say it's probably Bob and Laura's question, because they're really, I mean, two people.
Well, Bob typed it out. So yes, they are.
So,
yes,
but accolades to both of them, recognition to both of them.
Did not mean to leave you out. You guys are one.
So this is such a significant question that we're really going to be spending the majority of our time tonight on this one. We do have two other questions, but there is a lot to this, because there are so many different reasons and levels to answering this question. But here's just some of the reasons why. First of all, we've got to not compare ourselves to somebody else, because once you start comparing, and I love
that is so easy, much easier said than done.
Oh, I know it is. I know it is. Yeah. But when you really start looking at this, and the importance is keeping your focus on your goals, keep your focus on you doing the next right thing yourself. I mean, think about it. It's like, okay, so
I know where you're going.
Yeah. So what do winners keep their focus on?
Winners focus on winning
and doing what it takes to win, right? What do losers focus on?
Winners.
Yeah. And so
I wish I now would have picked.
Yeah. So what is his name, first of all?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. Who knows who Michael Phelps is, right? There is a phenomenal photo out there where he is just focused on that finish line, and right behind him, split seconds.
The lane right.
Right next to him is his competitor that before the race was sitting there like belittling him and getting in his face and trying to distract him and just being really mouthy and obnoxious to Michael. And then you see this photo as Michael's going to touch the finish line, that the loser basically is looking at Michael. Instead of focusing on the finish line, he kept looking to see where Michael was at in his progress. And because he did that, he lost precious time, he lost his focus, and he basically lost the gold medal because he was focusing on the winner.
Yeah.
So when we come down to why do some reach a certain rank or a certain level faster, well, a lot of the time it's because those that aren't getting there as fast, they're focused on watching what other people are doing instead of doing the things like the behaviors and the specific actions to be able to reach the goal.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I had to throw that in there because that really is it, guys. We cannot compare ourselves. Plus, you all have heard of me talking about compare-itis before. Itis, when you have an itis, it's not a good thing, right? And when you have compare-itis, it is fatal 100% of the time. It is fatal to your goals, to your dreams, to your future, to your purpose. Because to everything. Because if you're focusing on comparing yourself to someone else, again, you aren't focusing on the proper behaviors, and more than likely you are diminishing truly what you have to offer because you think that the other person is better than you.
Yeah. One key point though, if you're focusing on someone else to watch what they're doing so that you can learn what to do and then you model them or do what they do, that's actually a good thing. When you're looking at someone else and in their progress, you are now looking at your lack of progress and you're starting to take it personally. What am I doing wrong? And you start to ask all the wrong questions. Think of it this way, because when we focus on our lack of success, and because of that's what we're feeling first, which causes us to look at someone else, we are going to be looking at whoever you're looking at, whether it's a person or a team or whatever, you're going to be looking at all the things they do right and comparing it to the things you feel you're doing wrong. So in like a motion picture analogy, you're going to be looking at their highlight reels and comparing your blooper reels. You should never do that. That's the toxic part of comparison. When you're looking at it as an example of what good behavior to follow, that's a good thing. But when you're looking at it and it makes you feel bad about where you are, that's how you know that you shouldn't be doing it. So focus on improving your skills, improving your mindset, following a system. And then we're going to give you some examples here. You shouldn't be comparing yourself. So first is the experience level. You may, whether you're first time in network marketing, like Marcy and I were, LifeVantage is our first go round, versus comparing someone else who's had 10 years plus experience in the industry
or more
in some cases. So, and I will tell you, that's my issue. LifeVantage is my first experience, and I've compared myself and someone else rank advancing faster. Well, they've been at the top of several other companies. They know what it takes. They've had great leadership. They've learned the wrong things to do. So that's an example. One or another is the database of names. How big is your list? And this is a thing, you may think that you have friends and family on your list. You may have a list of 30 people, but the person you're looking at has a list of 300 people. So it's literally 10 times larger. And here's the thing, why you should have as big of a list as possible. So if your database is 1,000 names, I'm just going to exaggerate like crazy. If your list is 1,000 names and you ask the first 3 people and they tell you no, you've got 997 people left. You're not stressing at all. But if your list is 5 names and the first 3 people tell you no, you've only got 2 left. You're going to be freaking out. And the way somebody who has a list of 5 versus a list of 1,000, the same thing happens, 3 consecutive no's, but they handle it very differently. So make your database and your names list as big as possible.
And then decide to treat your names list like the asset that it truly is and be a professional with it. Strategize your invites. A few weeks ago, we had amazing Elite Pro 8s, Greg and Patty Polka, on with us, talking about how to categorize your names list by influence. And you can get much better results when you strategically use that names list than when you just do like a shotgun effect of just throwing all your invites out there to the people you know, instead of using the influence of one person over maybe another in the relationship. So go and find that TFR call where Greg and Patty Polka help explain how to categorize your names list.
Yeah, and then invites. How many are you doing and how often are you doing it? If you did 5 invites a day, every day, or at least Monday through Friday, every work day, at the end of the month, you're going to have a lot of invites out there versus maybe somebody invites people as they meet them, but they don't go out of the house very often. So they may go out of the house 3 times in a month, and they invite 3 people versus the other person who's doing it 5 times a day, every day. So it's just a matter of, on the invite side of it, how many are you extending or how many are you putting out and how often are you doing it?
And are they cold contacts or are they warm? Have you created the relationship that you should have with this person before you're doing the invites? Because if you have cultivated that relationship, you'll have better response and results than if you are just going again and doing the shotgun effect and just putting invites out to people that you don't really know. Again, we've got an amazing call out there where we had Jennings Waterhouse, Elite Pro 7, go over an amazing relationship invite call. It was phenomenal. So that's also on the Team Freedom Range YouTube channel.
Absolutely. So follow-ups. So are you doing it? And you hear this all the time, probably if you're listening long enough, the fortune is in the follow-up. Other than the invitation, the follow-up is next important, because if you're inviting and you're not following up, then you may as well not even invite. But if you're inviting and you're following up, then the next progress is to get them as much information as they want to make a decision. So if you find that you're making invitations, but you're not getting people enrolled, pretty certain that your downfall is the follow-up. You need to follow up. And here's the thing about it. If you're excited when you share information with someone and then you just forget to follow up, you know what they're thinking? Wow, it must not be as exciting as they thought it was. I guarantee you they're thinking that, because that's happened to me before. When I've extended the invitation and forgot about something, I got distracted, I didn't follow up, or somebody shared something with me and they didn't follow up. I'm thinking, oh, it must not be that much of an importance when I see their name. I'm not going to call them back. They didn't call me back. It must not be that important. So think about the follow-up. And here's one of the things about follow-up. You're not bothering them.
No.
It's one of the reasons, it's probably the biggest reason people don't follow up is they don't want to bother them. Well, you're not bothering them. If you have something that can benefit them, you're actually being kind of a crappy friend if you share some information with them and you don't follow up, especially if it can benefit from them. So maybe it's just how you look at the follow-up being a nuisance or wasting someone's time or bothering them versus helping them get what you're so excited about so their life can change immediately on the financial side, the health side, or both.
Well, and it's also a matter of if it's something that makes you uncomfortable and that's why you're not doing the follow-up, you've made it all about you.
Mhm.
And this is not about you at all. This is about what we have that can benefit someone else. And by the way, follow-ups, it takes on average 5 to 9 times following up with someone for them to be able to really see what you have to offer and make a decision. So how many times, I mean, seriously, I want you to let me know in the comment section that you follow up at least 5 times with every single prospect, or raise your hand if you are one of those that has not done as much of the follow-up as you possibly could. And maybe that's why somebody else's business has grown faster than yours.
You want to know something about the follow-up? You probably already know this, but you know when most enrollments happen? After the 5th follow-up. So if you follow up 4 times, it's the next one that's usually going to bring home the enrollment. So the average person in network marketing enrolls after the 5th follow-up. So if you're not following up at all, you're missing 5 opportunities to get that person into your funnel and ultimately onto your team.
And then when it comes to the follow-up as well, keep in mind that the follow-up doesn't always have to include LifeVantage information. It could just be you reaching out and being a good friend or checking in on someone or making some really awesome comments on a post that they made on social media about maybe a trip they took or something their kids are doing. Because as soon as they see your name or hear your voice, they're automatically going to start thinking about the LifeVantage opportunity and products that you've been sharing with them. So make sure that you use all of the follow-up tools available to you as well, because you do not want to be the one that is answering the questions. You want to be pointing to the answers, whether it's in a tool, as in a video, or the FAQs on our websites, or making sure that you're using third-party validation for your follow-ups. Because if you start answering questions for your prospects instead of pointing to a tool or introducing them to a team member, you're helping them on the fast track to saying no to you, because people are way too busy, way too stressed out, and do not want to take the time to learn everything it takes to be able to answer all the questions. But if they know that they can have access to the tools, the assets, the videos, FAQs, and the people, just like you have, you're helping them say yes.
Absolutely. Great point. Answering questions. I'm going to share my personal experience on this one because I broke this rule. This was the biggest rule that I broke. If we were back in school and there's consequences for breaking rules, I would have been on detention every single day because I broke this rule, answering questions. Because here's the reason. It makes sense to me, and it shouldn't make, hopefully it doesn't make sense to you, but it's the reason I did. When I was in practice when I got involved. I was a chiropractor and I was in private practice when I got involved in LifeVantage, and I was used to people asking me questions. As a doctor, they would come to my office and they would ask me questions. So I got used to answering questions. Well, this is not a private practice as a doctor. When someone asks you questions in your network marketing business, in fact, the worst thing you can do is answer the question. They don't care where the answer comes from. They just want the answer. So when someone asks a question, that's a great question. I'd like to know the answer to that too. So let me get my teammate or my upline or my enroller or my business partner who's been doing this longer than me, because I want to know the answer too. And then you ask the question, or the question is answered by your team of support. You should never answer the questions of your prospects. Why? Because it tells them they have to know all the information. If this is somebody like me, when I got involved, 15 minutes a day is all I could devote to this. If I had to know everything, then I wouldn't be able to do this business, because after I learned the hard way of answering questions, you have to let your team do that for you, because if you answer all the questions, you're telling your prospect they have to know all the information. And if they don't have the time or desire to learn it, you'll never enroll them, and you'll probably never know why they didn't enroll. Don't answer your own questions of your prospects. Get someone on your team to do it.
Yes. And then Micah, she's got a really good question here. Do we keep following up even when a person is completely ignoring you? Now, first of all, keep in
Good
mind,
question.
we
Thank you,
do
Micah.
not, we do not know what's going in other people's lives. And so they just might have a lot of stuff happening right now, right? But again, maybe you can just kind of take a step back from sharing information about the products and about the opportunity and just start making comments and making interactions about relationship and caring about them and seeing what's going on while you are sharing the benefits that you're experiencing from the products, whether it's in your stories on social media. Because if you are interacting with them on social media and you're getting the algorithm working for you, when you start putting up your stories and everything, then they will automatically be noticed because you've been adding value on, or notified because you've been adding value on their posts. So there's many different ways to do follow-ups. If you think somebody's just plain out ignoring you, and depending on what the relationship is, you can send them a message and just say, hey, come on, I've sent you a couple messages, I know that you're around, why are you ghosting me?
Yeah.
And just be bold about it, but be kind of humorous in it too.
Be human.
Yeah. And just see what their response back is. They might come back and say, hey, so sorry, I've just had a lot going on with the kids. And, we never know, right? But don't ever take it personally. That's the important thing. So now let's go through this level of enrollment and the PV level pretty quickly and get through the rest of this, because we've got a lot. We got a lot here.
2 more questions to get to. So go ahead.
Okay, so the level of enrollment, what are you encouraging people to enroll at? Depending on which level of pack your new distributors come in at will help determine what their commitment level is going to be and what type of resources they have available to them to support their success path. Because we're talking about why isn't your business growing? It's because the way that we're bringing people in may not be promoting the fastest growth. Now, it is true, you can get started with a $50 start kit and purchase of product, because the start kit is only tools. You don't have product and volume in order to make commissions. The Premier Pack, $2.99, that's get you commissionable because you have enough products so you can start a product story, but you don't have any training to teach you how to be a professional. That's why we really need to start looking at the value of the Elite Pack and helping people understand the value, because it's when people don't understand the value of what is coming to them in the investment is when they choose something less. Now, keep in mind, Elite Pack distributors, they get like $1,900 in discounts off of products that comes with their package. They get all of the tools they need. They get all of the a year of training for free, guys. The Elite events, whether it's Elite Academy, Convention, and LifeVantage Academies, those are free for them for a year. Plus, when they utilize the LifeVantage app, they are being given customers. And so we're getting them their first paychecks. And when you get $1 in somebody's pocket, they stick around longer. So there are reasons why the packs are set up the way that they are. And the Elite Pack is definitely the one that promotes faster building of business and longer term commitment in the business as well. And what you do is what is going to duplicate throughout your team. Keep that in mind. People will do what you do. And so that's also why it's really important that we really start from the beginning, teaching the 200 and PV being the out of the gate, the get-go, right? Because once you hit Pro 3, you need 200 PV to get all of the compensation plan bonuses. But let's just start that behavior from the beginning. It doesn't all have to come from you. It can come from you and your personally sponsored customers, but let's make sure that we have the mindset of an elite distributor by coming in with an Elite Pack, having all of the assets that we need, as well as having the 200 in PV.
Absolutely. Good point. So I'm going to talk about onboarding system while you look at Micah's question in the comments. So the onboarding system, how are you doing it? So it's the whole ITT, invite, tool, team. And once they get through the team aspect of it, if you're using the app, the next part of it, you can send them an enrollment link. You can send them a loaded cart so they can either check out and make a product purchase, or they can fill out the enrollment link and become your next distributor. So the onboarding system that you use is going to be duplicated. So does the person that you're enrolling feel that this is an easy process, or is it a difficult process? Because the easier it is, the more likely it's going to duplicate, and the easier you make it for them. For the new person, they shouldn't have to go look through all the emails that they've already got to try to find your email, to look through this and look through that. Just send them a link. Either you can do it through text, you can do it through social media, you can do it however you want. But if you include the link, whether it's a product cart, a fully loaded cart, or an enrollment link, all they have to do is put in their personal information and their credit card information, check out. It's done. Simple. Make it simple. The other is the level of commitment. This is what I really love about this. And this is where we use the income disclosure statement. So when we're looking at someone that we're about to enroll, we want to know, what is their expectations? What do they want out of this? In other words, what kind of money, if we're talking about a distributor now, what kind of money would they like to make? We have them look at the income disclosure statement, pick out a number of monthly income that would be their goal. Then once they've established that, you look to the right on the form. It tells you how long it takes on average to get to that level. Then it's simply a question right back at them. If you want to reach this level, are you willing to put in this amount of time, making consistent efforts with invites, follow-ups, and letting us help you in the process? Now they've got to make a commitment. If they want to make that amount of money and they spend that amount of time doing the invitations, doing the follow-ups, and allowing us to help them through the process. It's either a yes or no question. We've got to move up or down the level of involvement and their level of commitment to see whether it's going to work out or not.
And I have a proposal.
Yes.
Let's do this question tonight. The other questions will come next week, because I really want to make sure that we're able to fully answer all these questions here. And Micah, we're going to be using one of your questions. We'll probably answering it right here. But so when we're talking about, so Micah's question was, what's the best way to connect with you guys to get questions answered? Connect them with you, ask you the question, then give them the answer. So when we're talking about utilizing your team support, when you're with someone that has seen some information and now they have questions, what we recommend and what has worked really well is that you send out a group text message, or if you have a WhatsApp group or whichever method of communication that you're working with your team, send out a message to your team that says, hey, I'm with someone right now that has this question. Who can help me answer it right now? Right? So whether somebody is able to hop on a call with you, hop on Zoom with you, or be able to direct you to where the answer can be found in an asset, whether it's an article that's online on our websites, it's in the FAQ, or in a video that has been previously done. I mean, in the app, there's all kinds of stuff there, right? And so sending out that group message is going to be your best bet in getting someone available to help you right then. Right now, if someone isn't available right that second, take note of the questions and just let them know. It's like, hey, I'm going to find the answers to this for you, or hey, let's set up a call with one of my team members that will be able to help answer your questions the very best way possible for you, because I want you to get what you need. Right? Because when we phrase it that way, hey, I want to help you get your questions answered the very best way possible for you, then why would they say no to an additional call where they can get their questions answered the best way for them?
Can I add a little to that?
Go.
My favorite way of doing this, and that's fantastic what you just said. My way of doing this, and that is my favorite, is I love to do it either in text or Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger. And I create a three-way group, a group message. And I'll say, hey, Marcy, this is my new prospect, Stephanie. Stephanie had this wonderful question. And I'll say the question, say, Marcy, could you please get back to us? I'd love to know the answer to that too. And I either do it in a video, which you can record a 20-second video on Facebook or a 2-minute video on LinkedIn. And then it's up to Marcy's availability to answer the question, but it's also an opportunity for Marcy to welcome the prospect, edify me in the process, and it's saved. They can save the answer to it in the Facebook Messenger, the LinkedIn Messenger, or also in the text stream, and it works really, really well, especially if they can't get to it right away. if they're going to get back to it, and it's a great way to start an introduction.
Yep. Love it. Love it. So there's so many different ways. I hope that helped, Micah. And I hope you understand the importance of utilizing your whole upline. First of all, our compensation plan encourages it, right? There's 5 levels of business partners that are above your position that are being compensated in that generational match bonus. And then if your elites are outside of that 5 levels above you, they're still being compensated to help you because of the elite bonus pool. So make sure that you're including your whole upline in your requests, because what that does is it just gives you the opportunity to have someone available to you quicker than maybe later.
You guys want to know what leadership looks like? Marjorie Ham is on Facebook, attending live while she's in the Philippines, going from meeting to meeting to meeting. That's what leaders do. Marjorie, you are an incredible leader. Thanks for letting us know you're watching live. And hopefully she's probably, knowing Marjorie, she's probably on speaker listening to us, and whoever's in the car with her, wherever they're going, is probably listening to this too. That is fantastic. That's why Marjorie has such an incredible team out there. Go Team Bacon, and why there's so many rank advancements and growth happening in that organization, because they're following the example of a phenomenal leader. Marjorie, you're amazing.
I'm just glad Marjorie's not driving.
Yeah,
we're good. We're good. No, and then we want to make sure that we set proper expectations. You go through this 1-3-5-7 really good. Do you want to take that, please?
So the 1-3-5-7 rule, I wish I could take credit for it. However, I can't. It was from Eric Worre the first time I heard it, and it's all about proper expectations, and it's in years. So 1, to make your money back. In other words, to recover your investment, 1 year. It should take, so whatever you invested, whether it's your elite pack, your premier pack, your starter kit plus products, whatever your initial investment is, plan on it taking a year to get your investment back. If you do it quicker than a year, then you're already ahead of the game, but that's the average. 3 years to go full time. In other words, 3 years putting in consistent time to replace the money that you're making in your job, and now have the option to quit your job and utilize this. In other words, replacing your current income. 5 years to make 6 figures in a year, and 7 years to go world class. So think about this. In the next 1, 3, 5, or 7 years, if you follow the system, you are consistent, you don't quit and go to another company, and you stay the course, in 1 year, you should get your money back. In 3 years, you can replace your current working income. In 5 years, you can make 6 figures or over $100,000 per year. And in 7 years, become part of the world-class leadership and example of network marketing. Most people never look at this. After 2 weeks, they want their money back and they want to be Pro 5. Well, if you make it in 1 year, you get your money back, you're already ahead of the game. So having proper expectations is really key. And that's the average across the entire industry. So great example there. Thank you, Eric Worre.
That's awesome. And we could stop right here. That was freaking awesome. Great call. All right. So what are you duplicating? What are you duplicating? Because no matter what you do, you are duplicating, right? And so if you have brought in one business partner that you've personally sponsored, you're now a leader. Did you help them have their first launch event within 48 to 72 hours after getting started? Because that's what will be the fastest duplication in the business, and getting people sharing this information consistently and quickly with their prospects. It will help get you introduced to the people that they want to share it with, so that you can help them in the sharing. But within 48 to 72 hours is when you should have your first launch event, whether that is a Zoom presentation, an in-person presentation, an online interview presentation. There's so many different things that we can do. Inviting people to a recorded presentation that you are just going after, but it's so important to get someone launched. But what I want you to know though is that if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I suck, I am not a good leader because I didn't do that. Well, guess what? That's the beautiful thing about this, is that we can all start over. We can all go back and we can do it again, right? So anybody that you've personally sponsored, get with them and do their first launch, or relaunch them and get a launch event scheduled into your books, because it's launch events that really will build your business. It's the new people, the most excited people that are going to help you move fast.
Let's talk about that. So consider that the first 48 to 72 hours, schedules permitting. Okay, we don't want to stress anybody out, but we also want here's the reason. Kind of think of it like the expiration date of your brand new enrollment. Have you guys ever eaten some kind of a dairy product and you look at it and it tasted really bad and you look and it's because it was expired, or some kind of food object? You wouldn't want to eat food, or especially dairy products, after their expiration date. Think of it like that, okay? So your expiration date of your enrollment is 48 to 72 hours. Why? One, because you're so enthusiastic. Your new enrollments are really excited. Capitalize on that excitement. What better mood to be in than an excited mood when you're extending invitations? And the other, so within 2 to 3 days, the other situation, the longer they're in, the more likelihood their negative friends are going to say, oh, you did what? You joined one of those pyramid schemes. You did it. They're going to hear more negativity and more negative criticism and opinions and judgments the longer they take. So here's the thing. You enroll today, you have your first meeting 3 days from now, you get some people enrolled in your new business, you're already excited. You're even more excited because you got some customers or you got some distributors. Now your neighbor across the street comes over and says, those things don't ever work, you'll never make any money. And it's like, well, I don't know about you, but I signed up 2 customers and a distributor at my meeting today. You take away their criticism because you already have the positivity, versus you don't have your first meeting, or it's you're afraid to make invitations because you don't want to bother anybody. A week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, your neighbor, your uncle, your brother, your mom, they're telling you, oh, none of that works, you never make any money. You're now going to start believing it. And the longer it goes before your launch event, the more likely it's not ever going to happen. So capitalize on that first 48 to 72 hours, even if it's just having one person hear the information. A launch event you can do in all kinds of ways, but let's just say it's one person. Getting the information in front of one person on your database within the first 48 to 72 hours, make that your expiration date.
Now, question for you. Do you think you only need one launch event to build your business? No, I see you, Mary Ellen, and you are absolutely right. Shaking that head there. You don't. I would highly suggest that you launch your business every single month. Have at least one launch event to where you are personally inviting your prospects to your launch, okay, every single month. And then utilize the success story presentations on Tuesday night, utilize recorded webinars, utilize other presentations that are going on, whether it's on Big Blue Calendar or you know about somebody having a presentation where you know somebody. Utilize those throughout the rest of the month, but make sure that when you are thinking about your business, you don't just launch once. Let's launch every month. Because if you get into the mindset of inviting people to the presentation every single month, and you're going to have many people to follow up with, either they couldn't attend your launch or they did attend your launch and you've got to follow up with them with additional information, whichever it is, it's going to set your calendar to really be successfthe each and every month. So I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
I think that we should just show them the next slide and it becomes the
end.
No, I think that this should actually, let's just show it to them. And this is what we'll start with next week.
Okay.
Because we are already well past
8
the
minutes
time.
over, yeah.
And so we have a lot more to go just on this first question, guys. And so I'm going to stop the share actually, because we want to see all of your beautiful faces. Hey guys, so good to see you all on here. But we hope that that's helping you some, us answering the questions that you guys each individually have. So please make sure that you put your questions into the comments, because the thing is that if we have more questions than just 4 weeks can handle, then we'll continue it, because I think it's just really important for us to help you get your questions answered. And remember, there is no dumb question except for the one you don't ask. And that the question that you want to ask is probably something someone else is wondering as well. So
absolutely.
anything you want to add?
No, thank you so much for taking your business seriously, for wanting to know more information, because we want you to know as much information as you need to extend the belief that you need to have to get into your discomfort zone and share the information, because there's so many people out there that are looking for a better way of health, and there's so many people that are looking for a better way of financial security. We happen to have the answer to both in the same opportunity, and the more comfortable we are in that and the more we believe in it, the more likely we're going to share with people. So we want to equip you with as much information, knowledge, certainty, and belief that we can. And a lot of that comes with the questions you allow us to answer on your behalf.
Hey, and before we go, I also wanted to remind you that on the commitment, we had a call a few weeks ago, Elite Pro 8, Michelle Scaff went over the commitment letter. She also went over, I mean, the same commitments, you can find the stuff in the app to be able to just help your distributor really get on track. So I wanted to make sure you knew that that was another call that you could go back and review to help you with that. But just know that your business will grow as fast as you are putting effort, energy, and time into it. If you just give time, and you do all of the things that are necessary to build your business, it will happen. But you have to have proper expectations and don't compare yourself to anybody. You're amazing. You'll get this. And it's just a matter of time.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Thanks so much for your questions thus far. We'll pick up on where we left off today and answer the next two and probably add one to it. So thank you all for attending. God bless you guys. And thanks for all for that are attending on Facebook as well. Take care, everybody. God bless.
Bye, guys.